Welcome back to another episode of the Uplevel Your Online Business Show with me, Sarah. This episode is going to be dedicated to all of my clients and all of you out there who are kind of like, should I be pricing myself higher? Should I be pricing myself lower? How do I know how to price myself? And I really want to take this episode and this opportunity to talk about the two different ways that you can price yourself and how so many people lean into the more logical way of pricing themselves, which is fine. But there's also a really big energetic component to how you price yourself. And I'm going to tell you exactly why that energetic component matters so much more than you probably think it does. So, in my business coaching programs, I commonly talk to my clients about essentially just making sure that you're actually pricing yourself to a number where you feel like you can survive on, and a number that also feels really good to you, where you know that you're providing value for that number. So it's not just saying, oh, hey, I just really want to make a $10,000 coaching program. It's, hey, I want to make a $10,000 coaching program because one, that's going to really help me to get into that level of responsibility that I need to get into for that container. But also, two, that's going to help my clients. And I'm going to provide enough value inside of that container. And I'm going to provide a very specific result inside of that container that feels like I can price it at $10,000. So I think that a lot of people just kind of come into coaching programs and they come into the coaching space and mentorship, and other people tell them, oh, you're pricing that way too low, or you're pricing that a little bit high. And a lot of the times that's like really misconstrued, because someone who's in a really, really low income neighborhood, for example, could be like, well, I can't price myself more than like $50 a session. And someone who's coming from like Beverly Hills, California is going to say, well, I can't price myself like lower than $10,000. They could have the exact same program, but you also need to know who your ideal client is, what you truly want to do in the world, and how it is that you're communicating that value to your ideal client. And that's what I find really fascinating about services, is that literally you can have two different coaches doing the exact same thing, advertising the exact same thing, but their two ideal clients are different. The value that they feel energetically towards their services is different. And that's why one of them is going to charge $10,000 for their services and the other one's going to charge $50 a session. And I mean, I think that we all know it here that if we're charging $50 a session, that's really no way to live. At the same time, for someone who has the confidence to charge 10K for a session or 10K for a service and a package, that person also needs to make sure that that they're balancing that out with, I provide the value for it and I have the ideal client for it. Those two things are key. And so when we go to price our packages, usually what I tell my clients to do is to really think about the amount that you want to make at the end of a month, how many clients you want to have at a time, and how much marketing you're going to be putting into that as well. And so I have an entire calculation and equation for this, which most of the time my clients kind of align really, really well with what it is that they want to charge. Usually it's a little bit higher than what they think it is. And the reason why it's a little bit higher is usually because people don't really think about all of the responsibility, the marketing, et cetera, that truly goes into your service. Because think about it this way too. If you're buying a pair of yoga pants, let's say, for example, you're not just paying for the material and the amount of time that it took for someone to actually build this pant. You're also paying for the transportation that it takes to give you the yoga pant. You're paying for the rent of the place that is selling you the yoga pant. You're also paying for the marketing of the yoga pants. You're paying for the person who's helping you find the yoga pants. And so all of those things are factored in. We think about those things when we think about products. And so we think, okay, yeah, if I go to Alo Yoga and I pay $200 for a yoga pant, like that's totally justified. So why is it not totally justified for you to also include the marketing expenses that you have, the transportation expenses that you have, et cetera, in terms of your own business? And let me tell you something too. If you're not pricing yourself well enough, you're not going to be able to do the work that you really want to do, because you're going to be so drained and so overwhelmed by keeping the amount of clients that you need to keep in order to fund your lifestyle. Instead, what we all need to be doing is we need to price ourselves in relation to the energy that we know is going to need to come from us to deliver a really, really fair, high quality program. So I price myself high. And that's because I have 8 years of business coaching experience. I have like dozens of client results that y'all can see on my social media and on my YouTube. And because I don't want my clients to get the burnt out, overworked version of me. I want my ideal clients to get the best version of me because that is what creates those results. That's why I get those client testimonials because they get my refined, precise, undivided attention. And in order for me to place a value on that, I can't just look at all of my competitors. I have to look at what do I offer and how is that energetically related to how I'm going to show up. And so here's a little bit more of the energetic part too. If you're pricing yourself too low, over time, yeah, you might be able to get clients, but one, they're probably not going to be the right clients. They're probably not going to be the clients that are actually committed to working with you and actually committed to getting themselves results because they didn't commit a lot of money. Remember that too. Low commitment generates low effort, right? If we're thinking about relationships as well, high commitment, high effort, right? We don't want the man who's in the relationship who's going to give us low amounts of commitment and low amounts of effort. Right? You want the person who's going to go all in for you. And so, not just from your perspective, so you're not only just pricing yourself to be like, I'm going to go all in for my client. You're pricing yourself so that you get clients who are like, I am worth this amount and I am worth going all in for. Right? Because like attracts like. So, when you're pricing yourself energetically, it's not just about who you are. It's about who you want to bring in and how they perceive themselves as well. Because if you price yourself too low, you're going to get non-committal people who aren't actually putting in the work because they don't have that skin in the game. They're not going to get the results. They don't get the results. You don't get the testimonials. You don't get the testimonials. You don't get to brand yourself as an expert. So the best thing that you can do is price yourself energetically, not just for you, but for the client that you want to attract and for the client that you want who's going to pay top dollar. If you want the client who's going to do the work, you also have to have the client who's willing to put in the commitment and the effort to do that work. And the highest form of commitment is the energetic value of their money because their money has been their time for a very long time. And so you get their energetic commitment of their money and oof, that person's going to start playing a much bigger game. Okay. Another thing to think about when you're thinking about your energetic commitment and how you're pricing yourself and why it's not enough to just look at the logic and just look at what everyone else in your industry is doing is you also want to think about how you want to show up in that container and how you even show up on a sales call. Okay. Here's another thing. If you don't believe in the value of what you're doing, then you're always going to show up on your sales calls or even in any type of sales conversation, you're going to show up being like, I don't really know about this, You're not going to be like all that serious about it. You can't just look in the mirror and say, yeah, my program costs $10,000. You want to be able to look in the mirror and say, hey, I have a $10,000 program and it is going to really, really help you get 1, 2, 3 results. If we're not saying that to ourselves in the mirror consistently, and if we can't say that with conviction, doesn't matter what business coach you hire so that you can have like a $20,000 program. If you're not feeling in your body like you can deliver a $20,000 program, and if you don't feel like your program is worth $20,000, you're not going to get $20,000 clients because you don't believe in it yourself. Another big hack with this, and this is literally something that I just helped one of my clients with, is if you are starting a group program, for example, and you're kind of like, okay, well, should I price this group program in relation to my one-to-one program? So we start to think about like, what am I priced at per hour? That's great. All of those things are really, really great things to keep in mind. But the problem becomes, well, if you like one of your programs so much more than you like the other one, and if the one-to-one program that you have is priced at a way where you're just like, oh my God, yes, I can sell this over and over and over again. I absolutely love this price point. I sign clients at this price point and I make really great money for it. And then you're pricing your group program as a bargain or a steal. Guess what? you're not going to want to sell that group program. You're going to want to sell that one-to-one program over and over and over again. And then you're not going to be able to scale out of one-to-one. So you need to price your programs energetically in a way that excites you, right? So if you're full in your one-to-one programs and you really want to start and scale, you need to price those other passive programs in a way that's going to make you even just as excited, if not more excited, to sell it that way. And that was a huge thing that I fumbled upon when I was first starting to do group. This was like back in 2018 when I first started to scale my business. And I had my one-to-one program and I had my group program. I wanted my group program to be this like steal because I was like, okay, well, I can put anyone in it. What was happening to me, though, is I was getting on calls with people and I didn't want to sell in the group program because I was like, I make so much more money from my one-to-one. And when I gave people the option of having both, they would always just be like, yeah, no, I just really want to do this one-to-one program with you. Of course, right? And so really getting myself energetically behind my price point and behind what it is that I'm doing and the scalable thing as well helped me to get on calls and be like, I know that you want one-to-one, but I have this really amazing group option for you. It's a hybrid of group and one-to-one, and I think that this is going to be the best fit for you. And then guess what? I exclusively started selling my group program. In fact, I have not sold a genuine one-to-one coaching package in my business since 2022. It's been a while. And I love it. I love it because I genuinely believe that the current package that I have actually drives better results. And so if I believe it and I believe in the value that I provide, other people are going to see and understand that confidence. And like I said, if I'm picking the right people to get into my programs, then I also have the backup of all of the transformations that I provide to those people. And if they're similar to the people that I'm actively trying to recruit to my program, guess what? It's a match, right? Like everything becomes an energetic match. So that's the biggest thing about your pricing is you want to match it. You want to match it to who you are, who you're becoming, what you truly believe that you can provide for people. So the value that you believe that you're bringing to the table, the value that you want your clients to believe that they are worth as well, because it's also your client's responsibility to decide what they are worth and if they're willing to invest $10,000 in themselves, because not just in you, right? And then also really helping yourself understand what is the energetic commitment that I provide and what number makes me get super excited about selling this thing over and over and over again. That plus the logical stuff that you're doing, all the stuff that you're doing in terms of like how much money do you need to set aside for taxes, for team, for marketing. That's great. But combining that with the energetic stuff, that's where you get locked in. And that's truly when you start embodying all of the things that you truly want to become. All right. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know. You can always find me on social media. It's Sarah without an H, J Loureiro on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you guys. And thank you for so much for listening. I'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. If you enjoy our show and would like the show notes and free goodies about how to grow your online coaching business, head over to sarajloureiro.com for more information. We hope you'll tune in next time.